Today, we're revealing our most anticipated games for the rest of 2025. Will we name your favorite? Also, we're discussing the crazy Microsoft job eliminations and game cancellations. What's really going on behind the scenes? And finally, Helldivers 2 is announced for the Xbox. Will we be enlisting in the fight to save Super Earth? Stick around to find out. Welcome, friends, to a special 4th of July episode of Good Playing with You, your weekly gaming news roundup. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by my patriotic pack of Matts, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matthew Moulding.
Hey now.
Before we hit the headlines, one quick note. We are 253 subs away from our goal of 1,000, so if you could hit the like and subscribe button, it would mean a lot. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk video games. Gentlemen, sadly, we all know GTA 6 has been moved to next year, but that doesn't mean the rest of the year is a total dud. I want to hear your two most anticipated games that you're waiting to come out this year. Let's start with you, Moulding.
Yeah, no doubt my first one is Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. It's coming out on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Switch 2, Switch, and PC on September 30th. I am so excited for this game. Yeah, it's coming out. I actually should have just said it's coming out on everything.
Yeah.
It's coming out on your refrigerator. You'll be able to play it there.
Right.
I'm so excited for this game. I've talked about it a few times on the pod. It came out in 1997, the original, and I just absolutely love this game. And it's something I've been really anticipating them, Square Enix, remaking or remastering so that I'd be able to play it again. I think you can play it on quite a few different systems. I think you can play it on like the Game Boy, some other places, the Game Boy Advance, or the DS. Maybe it was the DS. One of the systems you could still play it on. But I'm super excited to see that one again and get my hands on it. And then the other one, however, is a brand new one called Hell is Us. It's coming on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on September 4th. And this one we got to look at, I think it was at the beginning of the year or the end of last year.
I don't remember this one. Can you describe
remember
it?
I think you'll remember it. It was a post-apocalyptic, which I love. I eat that shit up. And the guy had like a drone that was with him all the time. But the real key thing that you might remember is one of the cutscenes had this guy with these big jowls, and he looked like that guy from Legion, the demon from Legion, if you've ever seen that show. But he looked really menacing. It didn't really give a lot of gameplay. It didn't really give a lot of story, but everything, that vibe that it gave, I wanted to eat that vibe up. I was very excited, and I'm very excited to get my hands on that game. So those two games, super excited, really want to get my hands on them and play them this year. So hopefully they don't get pushed.
Yeah. Good picks, though.
Yeah, really good picks. Final Fantasy, count me in, Moulding. I really am
nice.
For that one. Oh yeah,
good.
Those tactics games are awesome. So good.
Friend of the pod, Chad Conselmo from Square Enix, actually got me a free code to play Tactics Ogre. I don't know if you've ever played that game.
Nice.
But I'm playing that one right now.
That's so cool. How is that?
It's super. It's very similar to Final Fantasy Tactics. So I'm just started getting into it yesterday.
So cool.
Yeah. So
Hell is Us is cool. Like, Dan, it's a Soulsborne-ish game, right?
Is that what it? Okay, yeah.
It's like Soulsborne-ish. Yeah.
I can't wait.
I will say it does have a little more style that it's leaning into a style like that futuristic style that I've been aching for sure. So
it's what all those Soulsborne were missing on those types of games is the sci-fi. I mean, we got the really great one where you tore off the end of the robot arms and stuff like that. That was a great one. But yeah, it looks like it's more on the sci-fi side. So yeah, super
agreed. Good stuff.
What about you, Lord? What are you looking forward to this year?
Let's take a quick peek, shall we? My first game, it's going to be I was kind of looking through the list of games. And I was like, what am I going to what do we got here? And I was like, you know what looks so cool that I have been eyeballing this Lost Soul Aside game. This is coming out on PS5 and PC on August 29th. This bad boy was it was initially created by one guy, which is very interesting. And here's a little tidbit about the game. Lost Soul Aside is a fast-paced action RPG following Kaiser, a lone warrior fused with a mysterious shape-shifting creature named Arena. As Kaiser searches for answers about his past and the war-ravaged world around him, he's drawn into a conflict much larger than himself. With stylish, high-speed combat and cinematic storytelling, Lost Soul Aside blends flashy action with a haunting sense of destiny. And I just really like the look of this because I am a fan of these Final Fantasy 16 like action RPGs that aren't exact like they're not dark. They're not dark. They're not a Souls like game. They're just like strictly you're going in, you're leveling up some stats. Like it's not impossible to play these games like a lot of Soulsborne games. And a little, people are also saying like Devil May Cry-ish. And so I'm all over it. I'm like, that sounds awesome. And man, when you watch this trailer, you're like, wow, this was all started by one guy. Like, what a feat. Incredible stuff. I'm really looking forward to that one. And it's right around the corner. We only have to wait like till the end of the
it's next month.
Yeah.
Well, 2 months. 2 months technically, I guess.
I love that you called this out because it wasn't even on my radar. So good pick.
Yeah. It was I remember it was in one of the showcases. I think it was in the Xbox showcase or maybe it was the Sony
probably
one.
The PlayStation one if it's not PlayStation 5 and PC.
Of course, it's gonna be the Sony. Yeah, what am I? Yeah, so many showcases just back to back to back.
Not enough, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And my second pick that I couldn't help myself. Silent Hill F. This is gonna be coming out on PS5 and PC on September 25th, and we just got a look at this on the last this was on the last Sony showcase, and man, I just caught myself thinking more and more about this game. And for those who don't know much about it, here's a little tidbit. Silent Hill F is a psychological horror game set in 1960s Japan, where a quiet rural town is suddenly overtaken by a mysterious deadly fungus. The story follows a young girl as she confronts supernatural forces, societal cruelty, and her own unraveling reality. With a chilling blend of body horror and emotional storytelling, Silent Hill F reimagines the franchise's terror through a uniquely tragic and atmospheric lens. And couldn't agree more with that little synopsis because, man, that game, I don't know. I just thought the trailer looked really strong. Like, I know we discussed
the latest one,
the
for
latest
sure.
one.
When they showed the combat, I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yes. I thought it was great. I did see one little thing that made me a little nervous. I saw it today on Twitter. Somebody was saying there's been a latest article saying that Silent Hill F is going to be a little more combat focused. What do you guys think about that?
Is that good?
I don't know. For Danthrax's.
Danthrax is in. For me, I'm a little more like, I definitely get more spooked like being a little helpless in these types of scenarios. So I don't know. And people were kind of comparing it like Silent Hill 2 was a little bit too combat heavy. And I gotta kind of agree. They did take a little more combat heavy approach, but I thought that game was super scary still. So this is gonna be a fun one. I can't wait. I mean, this one's again, don't have to wait long for this one either. Really looking forward to it.
Lord, would you say that Silent Hill, you seem like a huge fan. Is that your favorite franchise? Would you say?
There's that. I mean, Metal Gear Solid also. I just can't help it. I got my poster hanging up back here. I feel like I have a lot of really fun memories that I think about with like friends playing, like huddling around the TV and playing.
That's what I was gonna say, not to cut you off, but I was like, we've done so many live streams with the Nintendo shit. Maybe this is one where we get some beer, get some pizza, you come over, we live stream it and scream like small girls. It could be totally fun.
That would be really fun. I would love that.
Small boys scream too, by the way.
I definitely I'm ready. Like if we do let's do it. That would be so fun. Let's
that'd be perfect, like October-y vibes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this would be perfect, right? To usher in October. I didn't even really think of that. So yeah, those are my two. I'm really excited. Good stuff to look forward to.
Agreed. Good stuff. All right. So the next one I have is Borderlands 4, and that's coming out on basically everything September 12th. And I know that we've been back and forth over this one, but it's like, GTA moved and I need a big shooter, and this one will do, especially with the fact that it's confirmed $70 and not $80. Thank you very much, Take-Two. But and then hopefully it's 4 players, so I'd love to talk you guys into it as well. Everybody knows this looter shit. I know, Mal, like you're definitely
I don't
Lord,
know.
you have
I don't know.
look, I'm sure it's cross-platform, so Lord, you can buy it on whichever one you want.
That's
I'm
true.
telling you, we should all team up on this one. It could be a really fun group. Yeah, it's a known quantity. It's more of the same, but like you need a good big shooter, and this one's brand new, and you can glide and double jump, and I don't know. I just think that I'm definitely looking forward to this one. It's
I just
my
for
wheelhouse.
people who are fans of the podcast would remember that we really laid into this game. So I feel like this is a bit of a 180 for you.
It is, you're right. Well, you're always the most critical on the things that you love, but you are right. It's like,
Yeah, that's true.
I had to lower my standards, to be honest with you. I was expecting GTA, and now I'm not getting GTA, so I'm like, okay.
Borderlands.
Yeah, it's like when the party's getting a little late and you're getting a little drunk, and you're like, okay, I can't get the person I want.
Looking around
You mean,
yeah,
are
exactly.
you saying that Borderlands 4 is your sidewalk sale?
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing right now in the gaming world,
Yeah.
but
I've had some sidewalk sales in my time, believe me.
For sure.
Horse
So Berlin
race
4,
city.
it's a known, it's a safe sidewalk sale. So that's what for me about Borderlands. And then my second one is The Beast, coming from Techland. It's a spin-off of the Dying Light franchise. In fact, it was supposed to be the DLC for part 2, but it got so big that they removed it from the season pass. Although if you had the season pass like Molding, you're getting it for free.
I didn't even know until today.
You're so lucky, because I've been salivating in this, and we had a conversation, and I told him that, and he was like, oh great. I'm like, what? I'm so jealous. But the only thing is about Techland is like, man, I love them, but they are just, their games are so buggy. So again, this is a little bit sidewalk sale territory for me. It's B tier, but when you got to hook up with someone on the weekend, this one's going to be the one for me. It's The Beast, and it looks fun. If you love Dying Light, you're going to love The Beast, and I don't see much difference. And it's going to be really fun as long as the bugs don't ruin it. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Dan, like those choices, like I'm just like, Dan's got Borderlands and The Beast to look forward to. Borderlands and The Beast could be like a Disney movie. It's just I mean, Borderlands, I do want to believe it's gonna hit. And it could, like, I feel like a lot of people did do a 180. Like, I feel like since
I think so too.
Went from $80 to 70, a lot of people were like, oh, okay, I might jump back on board. I feel like that was a huge turning point. So I'm glad they're Gearbox is riding the ship in a sense. So
yeah,
that's a
I think that's the case.
And getting to see the actual gameplay and their talk about different dungeons, I'm excited for what it could be. We'll see if it lives up to the hype. But
yeah.
So, yeah, good stuff. So there's at least, that makes me feel so much better that there's still stuff to look forward to in 2025, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also excited because Lord tends to buy his on physical, and so that I can borrow them.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can get some Death Stranding 2 when I'm done here in a second as well.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. All right, now let's hop into the headlines of the week. But before we do, Molding, word from our sponsor.
Yeah, this week's episode, like most of our episodes, is brought to you by our friends at Instant Riot. Instant Riot is the clothing brand for gamers, pop culture enthusiasts, and everyone in between. Head on over to instantriot.com to check out their fun dinosaur-themed shirts, like the one I'm wearing right now, Classic Jurassic, to celebrate the release of Jurassic World Rebirth, and they are the official partner for Good Playing With You merch. Enter code Dino Riot for 10% off your first order. So thank you to our friends over there at Instant Riots.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, and Lord, you're wearing a shirt too.
Oh yeah.
You've got our Good Playing With You on, right?
I love it.
I love it. Love my shirt.
All right, well, let's talk about something that I don't love. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
headlines of the week, and let's talk about Microsoft laying off quite a few people and shutting some studios. Malding, you have the story.
Yeah, this has been a dark week. I think for some people, Microsoft announced massive layoffs across its gaming division on Wednesday, cutting roughly 9,100 jobs, or about 4% of its global workforce, in one of the company's largest round of cuts yet. The layoffs impacted major studios and projects, with Candy Crush developer King reportedly hit hard and parts of Bethesda also affected. Xbox boss Phil Spencer told staff in a memo that these changes were necessary to, quote, focus on strategic growth areas and prioritize the strongest opportunities for the future. In addition, Xbox Studios chief Matt Booty confirmed in a separate memo that Microsoft has shut down The Initiative, the Santa Monica based studio founded in 2018, and canceled its highly anticipated Perfect Dark reboot. The studio had been working in partnership with Crystal Dynamics, but Microsoft has ended that collaboration as well. These layoffs follow a series of workforce reductions over the past 18 months, including closures of Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and Alpha Dog Games. Microsoft has also reportedly canceled an unannounced MMORPG as ZeniMax Online Studios, and is moving Blizzard's Warcraft Rumble into maintenance mode with no new content planned. Phil Spencer acknowledged the significance of the cuts, saying, quote, we would not be where we are today without the time, energy, and creativity of those whose roles are impacted, unquote. Despite the ongoing success of franchises like Call of Duty, Halo, and Diablo, and plans for upcoming next-gen Xbox hardware, Microsoft is doubling down on its shift towards Game Pass subscriptions, cloud gaming, and releasing more first-party games on competing platforms like PlayStation. This marks the fourth major round of layoffs in less than 2 years, leaving employees across Microsoft Gaming bracing for further changes as the company continues to restructure. Obviously, all of our hearts go out to those who have lost their jobs. Believe me,
Yeah.
all of us can also empathize with
Yes.
what they are currently going through. But
And being
let's
unemployed.
talk a little bit about the games that we'll never get to play, unfortunately, because of this. So, were there any of those games that you guys saw or heard that stick out in your head of something that you are really bummed about not being able to play?
Yeah, I mean, the Perfect Dark reboot, that was a
Shocking.
shocker. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they just showed this thing in 2024. Like they revealed that
Yeah, they did.
gameplay, and I thought it looked
Oh,
like honestly awesome. Like I thought it looked to me like they went back to like, they didn't take away from the N64 roots, and they had all the cool hacking. It looked amazing. They had the stealth, and I thought we were on track here. So when I hear that they're just closing it down and shuttering it up and that game's done, it's completely shocking. Like, who
yeah.
would have thought they would shut this game down when I think this would have been an easy slam dunk for Microsoft? Insane.
I
Agreed.
agree, but it makes you kind of wonder, like, was that game in trouble? Like, was there some sort of like maybe we didn't know
Yeah.
of, like, production problems, or maybe scope creep, or there's something behind the scenes we don't. Jason Schreier is going to write an article, and we're going to probably talk about it in 6 months. The real reason that Perfect Dark was
Yeah.
canceled, because you're right, that's the one we saw the most footage of. We saw what we thought was gameplay and all of that sort of stuff. It looked like a finished product to us, so it is a jaw dropper that it was canceled. There's something more to that story. I'm guessing we're going to hear it.
That one was my game of the show, of whatever show that
Mhm.
we saw. That I also agree. It looked incredible. I did see a rumor on Twitter/X, just
Ooh,
a
I love a good
rumor. It was
rumor.
someone.
I
It was
love a good
someone
rumor.
posting
Same.
something, and I don't even have it. I read it, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds crazy." But someone did post that they had some source that said that trailer that we saw was completely fabricated, and they were not at all up to that level of gameplay yet, and that whole thing was just made for that show. So I do
Hmm.
not know that that's true, but I mean, it does make sense if they are shutting down this studio and that wasn't actually the product that we saw and where they were at, and they'd been in development for a long time. So, who knows?
Well, that's frustrating.
But that's
Think
that's a
was that
nasty
just an
little rumor.
AI deep fake?
Right, it could have been.
Like, what the hell?
My guess is that it's what they call in the industry a vertical slice, where you create like one level of the game and then you show how you interact in the game. So I'm not saying it was fake. I'm saying it could just been the demo that they were showing the higher ups. And you do create like one mission in one location and nothing else in the game is created. It's just called a vertical slice. And that's usually what you create to get funding. So I would have been surprised that if they were only at that stage by the time we saw it. They should have been much further than that. Maybe that's what the problem was. So
Maybe.
interesting rumor.
Oh, so the Metroid game that we've seen, that's just a vertical slice too.
Maybe.
Oh my god,
Maybe.
you're gonna respond to those comments. I am sick of responding to the people who are bashing us about our opinions for Metroid. You are getting us into trouble.
I could not help it. Kick the
You are-
hornet's nest a little bit.
You
Totally
did.
did.
I mean, it's shocking that it's just too bad that we had to I don't know, like I just feel bamboozled if that is the case. Like we were
I don't know that
100%
that's
led to believe that Microsoft, like, and that's the thing too, is it gave me a lot of faith seeing that game. I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, we are back. Microsoft's back. Xbox has their stuff together. Then all of a sudden it's like, how about we just close every studio? Like, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Dan, what about you? Did you have a game that you thought looked
I was
good?
surprised. I was surprised by Everwild. I know that we didn't get a lot of a great look at it, but being from like Rare, a really prestigious studio, and they've of course done an amazing job with Sea of Thieves, even though some people don't love it, but they've been putting out a solid product, and so I was surprised that one, especially because Phil Spencer had just said in an interview not too long ago that it looked amazing. And so I feel like there was a lot of like double speak of, hey, this game looks amazing, and then it gets dropped completely. So yeah,
I feel like we've been getting a lot of double speak from Phil Spencer as of late. Can we talk about him for a second?
It makes me really concerned that last show that we saw, that we all crowed about, we loved that last Microsoft show. What if that's just all nonsense? What if everything that they've done is just bullshit?
So they did come out and say that anything shown in the most recent show this summer is still on track and is not canceled. They didn't show off any games that will be canceled. Okay. They also said, because a vicious rumor started circulating, that Phil Spencer was preparing to leave and letting President Sarah Bond take over at the end of this generation. And Microsoft had to come out and release a statement saying, no, Phil Spencer is not leaving. He's not setting up his departure or anything like that. He's doing a great job.
You can't believe them.
I know you can't. I'm just saying what was said. Yeah. So who knows? Phil could be leaving and Sarah could be taking over. But I think it'll be interesting to see really where these cuts are coming from, because my guess is there's going to be more. We do know that the Xbox, the games division was the majority of this, and man, 9,000 people and only 4% of the workforce. That's interesting. My guess is there could be some layoffs significant in the hardware section, because I don't know what they're doing with their console, and I'm not sure they do either. So that's my thoughts on that.
That's a good point. I had a game that I wanted to talk about. ZeniMax had an MMO. I mentioned it in my little spiel there. And I love, love is a strong word. I enjoyed my time with Elder Scrolls Online, and ZeniMax is the people behind that one. And supposedly this was a new like sci-fi looter shooter type MMO. And Jason Schreier, in his article that he wrote last year, said that this was one of the games that Phil Spencer couldn't set down during some interview, and that he was really enjoying this game. Matt Booty had to say, like, put that game down. We got to keep on moving. So it would be interesting. I just think you can't trust any of these people.
He was guzzling on that vertical slice.
He was guzzling on that vertical slice. He was deep throating it.
Vertical slice.
I just don't think we can believe anyone coming from a corporation about anything.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy to watch. especially because Microsoft is still kind of like figuring out what they're doing with putting software everywhere and then incorporating PC and partnering with Meta Quest. And they're kind of all over the place right now. But one story that's interesting, though, that I do want to talk about, speaking of software that goes to your competitors, though, it was announced recently that Helldivers is coming to Xbox. That's crazy. Maulding, you had the story.
Yeah, get ready for more me. This is from Wesley Yinpool at IGN. Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox Series X and S next month in a shock announcement that sees Sony publish a game on PlayStation's rival consoles. Arrowhead's explosive co-op third-person shooter launches on Xbox on August 26, 2025. A live stream confirmed. Remarkably, that's the same day Microsoft releases Gears of War Reloaded on PlayStation 5, so they're having a little wife swap. In a post that with Wesley,
and I'm sleeping with all of them. I'm loving that.
Yeah,
I'm loving it.
That was my assignment. In a post on Xbox Wire, Helldivers 2 game director Mikael Eriksson commented on what this launch means to the studio. Quote, "We know gamers have been asking for this for some time, and we are so excited to bring more Helldivers into our game," he said. "We have so much more in store for the future months and years, and the more players we have, the more stories we can tell. The fight for Super Earth has only just begun." Crossplay across all platforms is confirmed, which means PC, PlayStation, and Xbox players will be able to play together. Helldivers 2 launched on PC and PS5 in February 2024 and was a rare live service smash hit for Sony. It is the fastest selling PlayStation Studios game of all time, selling an incredible 12 million copies in only 12 weeks. Still, Helldivers 2 release on Xbox comes as a big surprise. Sony typically does not release PlayStation Studios games on Xbox, preferring instead to launch on PlayStation consoles only and, in an increasing number of cases, PC. Clearly, the once impenetrable walls of console exclusivity are coming down. Microsoft, now with 9,000 fewer employees, is all in on PlayStation. Gears of War Reloaded marks the once Xbox exclusive series debut on PlayStation. Hellblade 2 hits PS5 in August, and Obsidian's The Outer Worlds 2 releases on Sony's console in October. So, boys, what do you think about this surprise drop? Do you think that this is the dam breaking for PlayStation games on Xbox and we'll see more? Or is this just a one-off to breathe new life into Helldivers 2?
It's interesting that, I mean, it's incredible that so many games are going back and forth. I think also like Black Myth Wukong is also going to Xbox too. So it could have been in the cards for a bit. It could have been just like a behind the scenes, timed exclusive, perhaps. You never know.
No one told anyone about, and
No
they were
one told-
already prepared for this. Yep.
Yeah, it's possible.
Well, we did report on a rumor 7 months ago. We reported that Helldivers would be coming potentially to Xbox, and we talked about that 7 months ago. My thought is that must have been a leak, and that they were preparing the build then.
Mhm.
So sorry, go ahead.
That sounds. I'm totally with that. I think it makes sense. Like, I don't know. I do enjoy like having a laugh about this game sometimes. It's just because I'm bitter that I don't play it as much anymore. But then, it's cool. I think it's great that there's just going to be. This is a perfect game for all crossplay. Like,
I agree.
You fight a CPU enemy, so it makes perfect sense. You guys can be on a PC, you could be on Xbox, be on PlayStation, and be fighting the common enemy, and it's perfect. It works great. So no problem getting more people in there, and fighting the bugs and robots is a good thing.
I definitely agree. It's a good thing. But I am curious about the deal terms. I think this is a one-off. I don't think we're going to see anything super crazy in terms of their, original single-player content going to Xbox. I think this is more of like, okay, developer Arrowhead is this other entity, and maybe, when Sony agreed to publish this game, they only got a certain window of exclusivity carved out. I really don't think that Sony had any idea that this game was going to be as big as it was, and they're super excited and pumped about it. But I also think that they stand to make a lot of money by putting this on Xbox. This will really reinvigorate the game. and it's a good move for gamers and Sony. But I don't think it means anything bigger than that.
So this is why I think it wasn't a time exclusive, that this is a decision that they're making, because this is a PlayStation Studios game. This is not some third-party developer publisher that has made some agreement with PlayStation. This is their game. So this is the equivalent in my mind of Gears of War going over. So it's kind of ironic that they're happening, basically one day apart. So I don't think this was a time exclusive. I think this was a decision that they made, and I think that we're going to see more of it. Maybe
That's awesome.
they've decided to play nice, and they've decided to be like, "Hey,
but this is
Xbox
a third-party
sending
studio,
some games
though.
over."
They don't
Is
own
it?
this studio.
Oh, okay. It's a PlayStation Studios game. No, does that not make a
They
difference?
They published it. They probably paid for it
Maybe that
too.
I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sony holds all those cards, like I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Microsoft games going to the PlayStation than vice versa. Unfortunately.
Yes. That is true.
Yeah, definitely don't see any changes there. All right, so moving on though, real quickly before we get to the rest of the news, I wanted to tell you guys about the Meta Quest. Now, we reported last week, or I was about
You're
this.
such an
headset.
easy mark. An
Yeah.
easy mark.
Okay, you know what? I'm not that easy. I didn't buy the Xbox branded Meta Quest. I bought just the Meta Quest 3S. I couldn't resist. And after we did the story on the Meta Quest and their partnership with Microsoft, I thought it looked gorgeous and beautiful. And then I called friend of the pod, Ross, who's always in the comments and that sort of stuff. But he knows a lot about VR, and he's got an Oculus Rift, and he's been playing it for years. So I called him and was just like, hey, I'm interested in this Xbox thing. And he was like, well, have you ever considered just buying the one that's $100 less, the 3S, and you get a free Batman? So then I was like, oh, okay, that's the way to go, especially because I've got so many Xbox controllers. So I went ahead and bought the 3S this week because I couldn't resist it. And I set it up. I started playing my Xbox Game Pass games in there. I've got the free Batman, which I'm really having a good time with. And so, yeah, I mean, so yes, I am an easy mark. I'm a fish, and I fished for it. I got it. I'm enjoying it. I don't think it's going to definitely change like the face of gaming. I do think it's a fun gadget for if you're a gadget person. It's not necessary. It's not comfortable enough to play long time hours in the way that we sit, and play like big stretches of Fortnite for hours or anything like that. It's not comfortable enough for that. But it is a fun toy, and it is definitely worth something to check out when you guys come hang out.
That's awesome. Dan, I don't know about fish, but gaping whale is definitely
A gaping whale. Absolutely.
Oh my God, I'm not a gaping whale. Dick.
I'm happy you pulled the trigger because yes, it's very I gotta say that looks really cool. Like I love that. Looks very Neuromancer with the little dots. I love that.
And I haven't had a chance to goon in it yet, but I'll keep you posted.
That was my first question. I was like, can you goon in that? Oh, that's all we were gonna ask.
I tell you guys, I ask me questions in the pod, and that's all you ask me.
No, I have other questions, but that was one of them.
That was my top. Well, how is like the UI on it?
Confusing, but it's got all of the pieces there. I just need to understand the controllers a little bit better, and it's got hand tracking. So I'm still trying to figure it all out. It's interesting though. And I don't know a website that has VR porn, but I'll keep you posted on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. Google search will pull up a bunch of stuff for you.
Yeah. Well, I've only played with it for a few hours and stuff like that, but definitely a lot of Batman.
So it's like running Windows, or is it something else?
It's its own operating system, but you can pair it with a Windows machine. And if you've got like the Oculus software and games from a different headset, you can Airstream them to your computer. So I can probably play like Steam games and all that sort of stuff and have them streamed from my computer.
That's awesome.
So my questions are, we see you with the giant virtual TV in the AR version of it. What is the use of that if you have a giant television of your own? Like, why would you play games with that? Is that for people who don't have a big TV, but have that that headset? Is that what that reasoning is for?
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly
Okay.
right. I think this device is perfect for teenagers who want to go in their room and avoid their family. And
Mm.
I do think it is, but I do have a nice TV and the graphics are better in reality. So it's
Yeah.
higher DPI
Right, that's what I was.
in reality. And
Yeah.
on the headset, you can definitely see some flickering. It's not as like HD. And then the cheaper version I bought has the rounded lenses, so I can't. It's a little fuzzy on the edges, whereas the Pro version has like more pancake lenses, and then you can look anywhere and it's still sharp. But I can only look forward and have it be sharp. So they're downsides to being a cheap whale.
Okay. A cheap gaping whale. So then
Yeah.
my other question is, I saw your footage of of playing Batman.
Yeah.
And I just have a gameplay question. Whenever you move, why did it go in the
Yes.
small circle? Why did it do that? That was so annoying.
Well, great question. So these are advancements that have been made in the software over the years. When they first started releasing VR software, because I had the Oculus Rift, and if you moved, it just made you completely motion sick. And so they found out that a lot of the motion sickness is caused by your periphery, and so they block out a lot of your periphery and just keep you in a tunnel. And and then also, if you notice, when I'm turning, I am flicking my stick,
Yeah.
and it turns you like 15 degrees every single time, like a snap. And that also is to avoid getting motion sick. So, and I can report that I get motion sick really easily. I can't even look at my phone hardly in the car. And this thing, those little advancements, while they look funny, they do have an impact to pussies like me.
But isn't the point of VR to be able to just move all around and see all of that stuff?
So you can do that. There are different settings. So the setting I had, this one was on for wimps, but there are, if you can get what they call VR legs, and then it doesn't make you sick. And then, yes, you can go hog wild and go crazy.
Oh, nice. And so, like, is combat, does it feel clunky because you have to flick around like that? You got to flick the stick in such a way?
It does. Well, you're not in Batman, at least. The different games handle it differently, but in the case of Batman, what's interesting about it is that you are actually punching, and like you grab your smoke bombs from here, you grab your batarang from here, and you actually throw. You feel like Batman. You're grabbing your cape and you're dropping on stuff, people, because you have to physically do the moves with these things, and that's one of the things. Like, man, you kind of getting a workout. And then the other thing is, I had to go sit away from my dogs on a seat where my dogs couldn't get near me because I was afraid. I was afraid I was going to punch a beak. You know what I'm saying? Like a poor little guy. So I had to sit away in my own kind of chair because I didn't
set up like
anybody.
A pillow fort around you that they couldn't get into.
Yeah, I know. Those poor guys. So yeah, I didn't want to hurt them. And you definitely get a workout because a lot of these are movement based.
Nice. And so the screen, you could essentially make it as big as you want, because I saw you dragging it with the little laser, and you could just drag it forever as big as you want.
Yeah, pretty much. They have, so you can watch things with AR turned on, so I can see my dogs, make sure I'm not going to step on them, or you can turn off AR if I don't want to see my dogs anymore, and you can make it completely dark. You can make yourself on different planets while you're watching the screen, and then, like you said, yeah, it's definitely adjustable screen, whether it's YouTube or the Xbox Game Pass flat screen. You can make the screen curved as well, so you can do some interesting things.
So, are you actually seeing? Are you seeing a video? I don't even know. It's like a video version of your room, or are you seeing actually through it?
No,
Or
it is a video. Like, it's got cameras on the front of the device and it films your room.
Oh, it films.
And it's clear enough that I can pick up my phone and I can respond to text and that sort of stuff. And I'm still in the helmet.
Could you walk to the kitchen, grab a beer, no problem?
Yes, but, and that's one of the caveats here, you can't drink beer in the headset because you smack the can on the bottom of the visor.
Just get a
straw. That's a deal breaker.
Yep.
No, this is what they need to do: a VR headset with the beer hat thing, beer hat attachments.
Wait,
that's Shark Tank idea level, their friend.
We need to pitch it to Instant Ride because that's a funny.
I agree. Instant Ride
a beer hat attachment.
That's so funny. Well, you guys are definitely going to have to check it out when you
Yeah.
come over because it's fun. Is it a gimmick or will I stick with it? That's what I don't know, and I'll keep you posted on that one.
Yes, please.
All right. Well, speaking of games, Splitgate 2. This one's
Oh.
been interesting. This one's been controversial, and people aren't sticking with this one. Like, tell us about it, Lord.
Yeah, so Splitgate 2 has lost over 80% of its Steam players less than a month after launch. This comes
Whoa.
from the game post's Abdullah Jawad, that outlet. So according to data from SteamDB, Splitgate 2 has lost over 80%, 84% of its peak Steam player count since launch day on June 6th, 2025. On release, the game saw a strong start with an all-time peak of over 25,000 players, but those numbers have sharply declined. Here's a breakdown. So, launch day peak was over 25,000 players. Current 24-hour peak, 4,107 players. Lowest recorded daily peak, 1,033 players. And pre-launch daily peaks around 10,000 players. Ooh, so just to put this is my own writing here now. So just to put this in a little bit of perspective, the first Death Stranding is currently hitting an average of 15,000 players daily right now. So, when you're getting beat by the first Death Stranding, so was it the MAGA style hat at Summer Games Fest or FPS is just going to the wayside right now? What do you guys think?
Ooh, good question.
Ooh, a little. I bet it's a little column A and a little column B, right? So I think people have some FPS exhaustion. I think we're getting hit with a new one every like couple weeks, and it's hard to keep up if you're a big fan.
Yeah.
It's like putting lots of horror movies out at the same time. You can't do that because people get fatigued.
I'd watch them.
The same thing. You would. That's true. But you also bought the Oculus, or you also bought the VR headset, so we can't.
Yeah. I'm a gaping whale.
You're a gaping whale. So I think it's that, and I definitely think it was the controversy from the show. I think that had to have something to do with it. But it's also, this is an online only game, right? It's a competitive FPS shooter. So the fewer people there, the longer it is to get a game match going, and then it's just a circle of a death spiral, I think, for some of these games. So that would be my guess. It's a combo.
I agree. I haven't played this game, so I don't know what it's like, but maybe just the hook isn't there, because I know people could overlook the MAGA hat, or maybe a lot of the audience might actually agree with it.
Maybe people really like it.
Yeah, exactly. I think people will overlook that if the gameplay is really good and is there and is great. And maybe it just is. I haven't played it though, so I don't know. Like, have either of you played it?
I haven't played this one.
It's free to play.
Yeah, and it's free to play. But to be honest with you, and why I haven't played it is because there are so many out there, so it's wild.
I think gameplay has to speak for itself. I have heard rumblings that it's sweaty as all get out, and there's not enough verticality. There's like a heavy reliance on there's too much of a heavy reliance on the portals in this one. So to me, it just sounds like they're having troubles in the gameplay section as well. Like, I know I agree with you, Dan. I think the controversies could be overlooked had they just nailed this game and knocked it out of the park. And I don't think it did that.
It's really fast too. It's a fast game, right? It's not a hunker down and camp and shoot. It's you got to run and gun.
It's like OG Halo, pretty much, with portals.
All right.
Yeah.
I do like portals.
Well, speaking of games that are having a little bit of trouble and similar sort of numbers, but maybe even worse, is Firebreak. Remedy Entertainment, the studio behind Alan Wake and Control, launched its first live service called FBC Firebreak on June 17th for consoles and PC, including day one availability on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. But the launch hasn't exactly gone smoothly. Low player counts, balance issues, and clunky progression systems have plagued the game in early weeks. They have responded. They've tried to balance things a little bit more, and they're talking about what they're going to do in the future. Despite the rocky start, Remedy says it's not giving up on it. Communications director Thomas Pua admitted that the launch was disappointing, saying, quote, We aren't naive. We had hoped for a better launch. But he emphasized that the teams is highly motivated, listening to player feedback and making changes accordingly. Pua also downplayed the significance of FBC's low Steam numbers, and this is where I looked at it and I went to the chart, and they launched it only like this is PC only, but they launched it like over 2,000 players, and then they're hitting a daily average around 100 right now. So that,
Wow.
yeah, and that's wild, especially for a company that had such a huge fan base for these previous games. But anyway, to continue on with his quotes, he says, Remedy is fully committed to FBC Firebreak. We're all curious to see what it will be like later in the year. They've also put out a roadmap showing that they're going to add a couple of more levels. They promised more tweaks and content. But guys, is this one dead on arrival? What's going on here?
Oh yeah. I mean, the only one thing to say, these servers are getting shut down 2 months. 2 months. We're getting this thing offline. I mean, it's so hard. The thing is it has become very, very hard to right the ship on some of these games. Like I can't even recall a game that literally has made like a comeback. And so
Cyberpunk, that's the last one I can think of.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
But these types of shooters, man, oh man, you're in a deep,
Yeah.
deep hole. And unfortunately, I don't know, like you just kind of let it fade into just kind of let it fade away, I guess. Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's too bad because it kind of actually looks interesting and I do love controls. But oof.
Well,
I've been
Dan
having-
and I have played it.
Yes, yeah.
What?
Molly, tell everyone what you think about it. And I'm around if you want to play it this weekend, Lord, is all I'm saying.
What? I'm shook.
I think it's awful. I think it's a terrible game, which probably attributes a lot to its low player count. It was ugly as all hell. The controls felt awful. The one character that I played, you have 3 choices of like classes, and I played only one class, which was like the person that puts the fires out. It was ugly, not fun to play. Shooting was awful. It was not a good game at all, and I think that's why it's not doing well.
See, the gameplay speaks.
I like the game. I had a really good time. For me, this was a no-brainer because I got it free on Game Pass. I don't have to worry about paying the $40 that it costs to buy this thing. And this is the big differentiator, and I hate to say it, but not really. I'm not a huge fan of Control, and I'm not a huge fan of Alan Wake. I find them both really boring, and I think that's really what's happening here is you've got 2 different distinct audiences. I'm much more of an online shooter guy. I especially love PvEs and squad-based shooting and all that sort of stuff. And then you've got these heavy story-based games with a rich narrative and worlds that combine and strong single-player experiences. And maybe they're just not able to bridge the gap between the two because I'm having a good time with Firebreak. Is it the best shooter? No. But will it fill the void that I've got? For sure. I mean, it's really not, it is confusing to understand at first. I'll give it that. But it's got that progression system that I love where I've got more weapons to unlock and stronger weapons and lots of collectibles and powers. And then you can get your powers strong enough that you can make them resonant so that they extend to your buddies so that but they take up more slots. And I don't know. I thought that there was a lot to love here. It doesn't explain it at all. It's not the greatest game, but I'll be playing it this weekend.
Are you feeling that 100 player count though? Like, are you trying to play with? So was it you and 2 other folks, or just you 2?
So it is squads of 3, and I can clear the levels by myself or on a squad of 1. It's not. I mean, you can. It's fine. So it's not a huge thing. There's not a lot on the meat on the bone here. Once you've unlocked everything, and there's not any incentive to replay this thing. So I can see some people like me are going to play it and then burn out of it, and some people just absolutely bounced off of it, like Molding, who's literally about to cuss me out.
I deleted it immediately.
Yeah, as we were finishing the level, he was like, I can't wait to delete this game. Just going
halfway through the level, I'm like, so if I leave, does it fail you guys too? Because I did not even want to finish what we were playing. It was miserable.
I had to almost mute him because it was bitching the whole time as I'm dragging his carcass through the level.
Is there microtransactions? And where's the money coming from for this game?
I think it's $40.
Good question.
Oh, it's 40, but then Is there like cosmetics, anything being sold in the store, or why did they think this was going to be the moneymaker? Is what I'm trying to.
If I
figure
bought
out.
this game for $1.99, I would have been angry.
And you know what? And I talk a lot of shit about molding, but you did a great job. You really held down the whole furnace fight. You could have been brilliant, but your attitude, man, stunk.
My attitude sucked. I was also high as a kite.
That'll do it.
Yeah,
That'll
for
do
sure. Well, this gaping whale had a good time with it.
Yeah.
So
It filled the gape.
it did. It did for a brief moment. Well, that pretty much wraps everything we have for this week. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening on a podcast, please tell 253 friends. And on behalf of Matthew Moulding, Matt Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, happy 4th of July. Thanks for joining us. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.